Hello and welcome everyone, as always, to the Aftermarket Analysis Station. This is an aftermarket analysis station where we review after the market closes. What was observed today in the order flow of Nifty and Bank Nifty? Meaning, where buyers' interest was observed, where sellers' interest was seen, and basically, we try to read the footprint. Well, if you are new and want to learn order flow or want to learn how to use the GoCharting platform effectively, you can join this live session every day at 5 p.m. The link for this live session is posted on GoCharting's Telegram and Discord community before 5 p.m. If you want to learn something else, the recording of this live session is uploaded on GoCharting's YouTube channel. It is uploaded on GoCharting's Hindi channel, English channel, Harvick channel, and Spanish channel. They are uploaded in almost every language. Okay, secondly, these notifications, like there are two pop-ups here, you can click on the notification symbol to access them from here as well. Here is the link for them. Okay, and the recording will also be available here. As soon as the recording is uploaded, it will also appear here. Recording off file. Okay, this, Hindi, English, friends, you can access everything from here as well. So, now let's see what kind of buy-sell activity we observed today. Before that, let's take a look at the volume profile to see what the volume profile was yesterday. This is the VPOC zone from yesterday that was marked. Okay, Nifty had been sideways for the last 34 days, so this was its value area low, and this was its value area high. This was yesterday's VPOC zone, and it had been the VPOC zone for 2 days. So in any case, if today's VPOC zone was broken, our play was up to this point. So the levels were quite simple. Okay, now let's see what confirmation the order flow gave above these levels. Where the buyers were, where the sellers were, we'll look at all these things now. Okay, the tick size for Nifty is 180, and for Bank Nifty it's auto. If you want to use the tick size for Bank Nifty, you can use around 350 or around 450. Okay, before we read the footprint properly, we should know what delta is, because we are going to read the footprint here with the help of delta. Know in simple language the value of difference between buyers and sellers is called delta. This means delta tells us the difference between buyers and sellers. For example, if the first candle is from today, what is its delta value? The topmost delta value is first marked with a negative sign, which means the delta is indicating sellers. After that, the value is 13,000, which means the delta of this candle is minus 13,000. This indicates there are more sellers in this candle, specifically 13,000 more compared to buyers. Now, if we take this candle, what is the delta value of this candle? There is no negative sign here in the green box, so this means the delta value is indicating buyers. And what is the value? 9,000. In this candle, there are 9,000 more buyers compared to sellers. Now, if we take this candle, what is the delta value here? It's quite high, 105,000. And here it's 186,000. Here, the delta is only 14,000 on the buyer side. So, what is the delta telling us? It's giving us the scenario of the entire candle. Delta tells us who is powerful within this entire candle. If the delta is positive, it means there are more buyers because it indicates the value of the buyers. If the delta is negative, that means there are more sellers within this candle. Okay, and the sellers are more powerful. The whole scenario of the candle tells us who is more powerful. Positive delta means buyers. Negative delta means sellers. Now you will see two types of candles, one with very low delta, like 13,000 or 8,009, where both positive and negative aspects will be discussed, and some candles have a very high delta, like 105,000, 53,000, 186,000, and again. Some candles have against them 60,000 and 12, 60,000 and 23, etc. So it means candles with a heavy delta value. In the sense you can say above 30,000. The candles with heavy railway-like presence are above 30,000. Like look at this, it's 100,000. Above 30,000 is 53,000. Above 30,000 is 186,000. Above 30,000. This is solid buying or selling within these candles. Any candle with a large delta has experienced solid buying or solid selling. These are the candles that, in some way, clarify the market's direction because heavy buying and heavy selling have occurred within these candles. So, these candles have the potential to steer the market in some direction, and these are the candles where heavy data was less observed. These are the candles where buying and selling have occurred, but they don't have enough potential to move the market. Exactly. So what we will do here is pick those candles that have a range above 30, and we will look at the buying and selling zones of those candles to see what happened where. Okay, let's start reading from the first candle. Starting from the first candle. The important zone was how much the delta was. Nifty opened at 13,800 and is facing resistance. And there is no interest from buyers anywhere. One solid confirmation here was that the maximum delta of this candle is 35,000. Okay, now the maximum delta means 35,000 on the buyer side. So at one time, the data inside this candle was 35,000 on the buying side. But by the time the candle closed, what happened was it closed at minus 13,000. So that means at one point there was a positive delta of 35,000, but by the time it closed, it was at minus 13,000. So that means 35,000 and 13,000. How much is that? A selling of 48,000 occurred when the delta was 35,000, and by the time the candle closed, this data showed that there was a decent amount of selling, and Nifty faced resistance. Okay, this wasn't based on any solid delta, it was just that there was interest from sellers, and no interest from buyers. First of all, the second thing is that the seller entered, and thirdly, it was above a resistance. A good quick movement came from here to yesterday's VPOC zone. Now again, this candle didn't have such heavy selling, nor did this one. Now look at this candle. A negative data of 105 means that inside this candle, there are around 100,000 more sellers. The delta indicated that there are more sellers inside this candle. So on the left side of the multiply, there are sellers, and on the right side, we have buyers. So if there are more sellers, we will look at the seller side and identify the particular point where the most selling occurred, 46K selling, 59K selling, 40K selling. This means this is the zone where the most selling happened. Okay. The market went below the selling zone in the next two candles, which means it doesn't appear that the selling was absorbed here because it didn't go up. In the next two candles, there was no buying activity here, but there was significant selling activity, 53,087K selling activity. A selling zone was created here, and the same selling zone held without any buying interest. There was no buying interest, and it held well. For 10 minutes, there was no buying interest, and it didn't hold in positive delta anywhere. A quick downside movement was observed. What happened here was that again, there was significant selling, just like in the first candle. This selling zone was holding well on the downside, and there was no buying interest. Another candle had a significant negative delta. And where was its selling zone? It emerged here. And what happened here? As soon as the selling occurred, the candles reversed in the opposite direction. So that means there was a selling that was absorbed. Again, this is resistance. This is support. Why is this support? Because all the selling was absorbed here. Why is this resistance? Because aggressive sellers started entering here. meaning aggressive sellers began to enter from here, move the price up to this point. And this is the place where it started to get absorbed somewhere. It came back on the pullback again. But during the pullback, it couldn't hold it. In any case, if it could have held it, you would have seen it reach up to this point. But still, during the pullback, it couldn't hold here, and broke to the upside. What does breaking to the upside mean? Look at the maximum delta. It will also be useful here because there was buying around 42,000, once here as well. While breaking, it did a significant amount of buying. That now, here, it couldn't hold on the pullback. So, it broke. What this means is that aggressive sellers started entering from here, moved the price up to this point, and the price broke out above every selling zone. This was the selling zone. Right. The price broke out above here as well. It's holding well without any selling interest. And look, light buying has also started at 23.20. For a long time, there was a resistance that broke with light buying, and it acted as a significant support. Look, it worked like a pivot point, and a solid confirmation was that there was no selling coming in anywhere. After this, a resistance was created, and Nifty broke to the upside, holding well, without any selling interest, and it held for a long time. So there was a solid confirmation that everything was on the buying side, and an upward movement was observed. Here again, a buying attempt was made at 135,000, and this was the particular buying zone. The buying occurred exactly above the resistance. This is the exact assistance where the buying is correct. Whenever there is a single buying, and just like the price moved from here to there. Throughout this entire path, no buying was observed, only a single buying occurred, and it happened exactly above the assistance. So that means there's a great chance that buying rejection will be seen here, because only one buying occurred, and it was above the resistance. Nifty traveled from here to there, but only one buying occurred, and that too just above the resistance. So that means there is something here that can be absorbed. Okay, that's exactly what happened. The next candle broke the buying zone on the downside. Then again, the next candle snapped the buying zones, and in this candle, some selling was also observed. Again, it came back to the support zone, and came, but significant selling. There was selling in this candle as well. Look at this, the selling at 69, 50, and which were the selling zones, selling at 32, selling at 22, selling at 21, and here at 33, 48, these selling zones. Again did not break the support. Okay. Again did not break the support, the price easily went up, meaning it broke through all the selling zones and went up, so. Again, there was no bearishness. This was the zone where it was absorbed. Now the same one, this zone was broken by two candles, with significant buying at 37, and buying at 68. Again this was buying. Inside this candle, there was buying, but it wasn't significantly large buying. There was buying of 19,000, and one significant buying here, which happened after breaking the resistance. A pullback occurred. The resistance turned into support. There was no interest from sellers. Look here again. Buying of 27,000 happened, and another buying attempt was made. Another buying attempt was made. And again a pullback occurred right in the same zone, touching the value area high from yesterday. Basically, if we look at Nifty today, there were quite large buyers and quite large sellers, and after every buying and selling, there was movement. First, it faced one resistance, and there was no buying interest anywhere. Faced resistance, and moved to the downside. In this downside move, there was a significant amount of selling observed, which was the first selling. Okay, the next two candles held, and gave a downside movement. Another selling came, which was absorbed, went back to the resistance, touched it, but this time it failed to hold. So this resistance broke. One resistance worked, and a support zone held quite well. And on the upside, this was the place where buyers entered. But all were absorbed. And the next two candles confirmed that after absorption, there was a downside movement. After the downtrend moment, selling came in here, but these candles broke that selling zone. A pullback occurred where there was a buying absorption, but buyers struggled to hold it. Buying came in two candles, breaking 37,000 in one and 60,000 in the other. Okay, there was some light buying absorption seen here, but still, these two more buying instances confirm that your point is being centered by the buyers. After breaking one resistance, a full pullback came, and a lot of buying and selling happened within the day. The same kind of buying and selling happened yesterday in ES as well. Proper selling zones were formed in ES yesterday, which couldn't hold and gave a breakout to the upside. Okay, again selling came in. If we look at today's Nifty and yesterday's ES, it worked pin to pin, exactly the same. In ES, there were two sellings at the start. The last selling was absorbed, and this first selling acted as resistance. Again, the same selling zone was broken, and an upside move happened, exactly as Ditto did everywhere. Okay, and the same thing happened in Nifty here. Now let's look at Bank Nifty. Bank Nifty was very simple. I think Bank Nifty's volume usually comes in by 10 o'clock. After 10 o'clock, its volume started to end with light selling. One selling came in at 12,000 in this candle, 13,000 selling, 11,000 selling, light 15,000 selling. With light selling, the price kept moving. If any resistance was created somewhere, it created it here, but wait for the pullback. Before that, we saw some positive data of 7, meaning the biggest buying was seen amidst all the selling. The entire focus was here, and after this buying, the price moved up well. So that means this buying was not absorbed either. The same buying continued to act as support throughout the day. The same buying took rejections from here and also took light rejections from here. Look, okay, this was today's Nifty and Bank Nifty. If anyone has any doubts, please raise your hand and unmute yourself.